How's it going, you guys? So today we are going to be working on this 2015 Nissan Versa. I believe it has the 1.8 liter, and I'm going to be doing the transmission mount. I've already done the engine mount on this side. That one's done and replaced. And I've already done the torque mount. That's on the bottom of the car. Pretty easy to get to. If you jack the car up, you'll see it. It's about right here underneath the car. Looks like the bottom of a shoe, kind of shape wise, but the transmission mount is a little more of a pain to get to. Nothing too difficult. All you got to do is remove this intake and the battery, and then there's a battery tray. I'd say the most difficult part about this is probably removing the battery tray to get to the transmission mount, which is located, I can't see it right now, but once I get the stuff out of the way, transmission mount is located right underneath this battery tray right here. So let's go ahead and get started. First things first, always remove your battery, power and ground. And then we're going to go ahead and start on removing this intake piping. So you got these two clamps right here. You got this one clamp. I'm probably just going to pull it out from right here and not worry about this clamp. So just remove this clamp and it should pop out somewhere down here. Yeah, just slide right out. And then this whole piece should come off. Obviously you got to remove that bolt as well. Pull this piece out, and then we'll pull the battery out, and then I'll get right back to you guys to show you the rest of the bolts to remove the battery tray. Alrighty, so we got that intake piping out. We got the battery out with battery cover and all that stuff that was with it. Now we're at the battery tray. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and those are 13 millimeters. And then we got these two bolts right here that are 10 millimeters. And then these two bolts right here that are 10 millimeters. These two right here do have a backing bolt, so make sure you hold on to that with your fingers while you're loosening those so you don't drop them and lose them. Okay, and when you remove these two right here, this plate's gonna come off. And you actually have a couple more back there. I believe those are 13 millimeters as well. To get this tray out. And then you got these right here that are like pinch tabs. It holds a harness underneath the battery plate or battery tray. So you're going to want to get a needle nose plier, squeeze them and push them down, all of them. I believe there's only 3 of those. I already did mine just to see the difficulty and see what you would need exactly, and I just used needle nose pliers and squeezed them and pushed them down. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove all these 4 bolts, those 2 bolts, and those 2 bolts, and then I'll go ahead and come back to you when I get behind this plate to see what size bolt that is back there. So go ahead and remove those bolts. Push pause, whatever you gotta do, and then come back when you're done removing those bolts. Alrighty, you guys, so these are actually 10 millimeters back here, and there's 2. You got 1 and 2. So let's go ahead and remove those real quick. I got my handy dandy ratchet wrench. Definitely comes in handy. You go down to Harbor Freight and pick up a pack for, yeah, I got these for like $10 or something like that. And they got lifetime warranty, you guys, so I know it's Harbor Freight, hazard freight, but for lifetime warranty, I mean, if it breaks, you just go back and get a new one, so it doesn't really matter to me. I'm not gonna go spending $60 for a set of ratchet wrenches when I can get this for $10 and be good for the rest of my life. Alrighty, so keep on removing those, pull those out, and then yeah, once you remove those, come back. You pull those 2 bolts out, your tray should be loose. And obviously make sure those tabs are pushed all the way out. Sometimes you gotta get a little flat head and tap them down so they make sure you pop them all the way out. But make sure you remove this right here. This guy, he's gotta lift that tab up and wiggle it off. Sorry about that. Alright, keep pulling it off and boom, there she is. Move your wiring out of the way. And you gotta kind of work it out. It'll come though. Now you know what? Alright, we got 2 more. Looks like 2 more 10 millimeters right there. That's holding on to the harness. Go ahead and remove those 2 bolts right here at the front of the tray. So there's the engine, there's a tray. You got 2 more right there. Go ahead and remove those real quick and then the tray should come right out. All right, so got the 2 bolts removed. Pop that bracket off. Make sure you untop your tools. And go ahead and pull this tray out, slide it out. Voila. Now that you got that out, set that aside. And there she is. That's your transmission mount. So what we're going to go ahead and do from here is go underneath, set up your jack on the transmission to support it with a piece of 2x4. This way you're not putting metal to metal in the transmission with a jack. And just go ahead and apply a little bit of pressure until you see the transmission start to move, just like I'm talking 1/4 of an inch, just to support the transmission while you remove your transmission mount. And then at that point you should be good to go to start unbolting this. So it looks like, let's see, let me grab the new one to see if you gotta remove the whole entire thing. So it looks like you don't have to, possibly. So take it, it goes like that. This is from the Nissan dealership, so I'm about positive this is the right one. I'm not sure which way it goes. I'll figure that out when I get to that point. But it looks like all you got to do is remove this bolt, remove that bolt, and remove your center bolt, and then that should slide right out. So again, make sure you apply some pressure with your jack underneath the transmission. Have it set there, raise it up a little bit. Like I said, 1/4 of an inch, barely anything at all. Get to that point, go ahead and remove those 3 bolts, and then come back to the video and we'll go from there. All right, you guys, so this inner one, that's a 16 millimeter, and then these 2 outer ones are 18 millimeters. You are going to want to get a breaker bar, and obviously an extension to get down there. So yeah, you do want to go ahead and start off with this middle one. Remove the middle one first, and then remove the 2 outer ones. All right. So once you get those removed, go ahead and come back to this video. Okay, so it looked like, where did I put that piece? So this piece right here is actually just a plate, a metal plate. You go ahead and pull that off, keep that, put that aside. And then this center bolt right here actually gets pressed in while you bolt it in. So you do got to take a, you got a little, what is this? I don't know, I want to say it's a 5-pound hammer. Jack stand thing I used. I just placed it right on top of that bolt like so and hammered away at it. I'll do it the other way. Hammered away at it until transmission drops down onto your jack that's supporting it. I will say don't apply too much pressure again on the transmission, so this way that bolt is able to drop down. But after that, there you go. So it does look like the big hole side goes down and that side goes up, and it goes just like that. Bam. So this one I'm not seeing too much wear on, honestly. But when I was taking that center bolt out, this thing was twisting very easily. So I'm guessing this rubber is just really flimsy now. Hoping it gets rid of the vibration issue. But yeah, so now everything's pretty much reversed. So let's go ahead and put this guy back on. But first thing I want to do is I want to jack that transmission up until I believe it's high enough. So let's go ahead and do that now. You can go ahead and have it be higher than it's supposed to, because you can always lower it down. So I'll get this new one right here. Go like that. So yeah, we still got a little bit more to go. You just want it enough to get that bolt on right there, right when it starts to push it up. So now we're gonna get that center bolt, which is again a 16mm, I believe. Let me double confirm that for you guys. Yep, 16mm. So let's go ahead and get that one on. And when you put everything back, make sure you always hand tighten first. Alright. Remember, like I said, this one's pressed in, so it's going to start to get tight on you, and you're going to want to keep on going until pretty much it feels like it can't get any tighter. I'm not saying break the bolt, but you know, I'm using a pretty short ratchet, so I can't put that much torque on it. Okay, keep going. Tighten that one down more when I don't have a camera in my hand. All right, now let's get those other two bolts on. 18mm. Again, hand tighten. One and two. All right. So go ahead and get those tightened up. Remember, don't go over torquing them down. Just do it enough to where it felt the same difficulty as when you're taking it off. So nothing too crazy, just enough to have it support your transmission. Oh, you know what? I forgot one thing. You guys probably already caught it. Put that plate back on top. That. Voila. Alright, so I'm going to need 2 hands for this so I can hold that plate in place. You don't want it sitting crooked, obviously. Alrighty, So go ahead and tighten all those down, put that plate back on, and come back to the video once you got that going. All right, so now with those bolts back on, tightened down, and you can definitely tell when these bolts get tight. They'll get tight, don't go past that point. And then same with this bolt right here, you can tell when this one gets tight, don't go past that point. All right, so now, oh, and also, even with a pry bar inside there, I had a little pry bar holding this from twisting while I was torquing it down. Stick a pry bar in there and hold it, or have someone hold it for you while you give it that last tighten. This way it doesn't twist too crazy. Mine twisted just a little bit, but I don't think it's bad enough to really affect anything, so I believe it's fine. I'm gonna leave it there and go ahead and put the tray back on. This guy right here, slide that back in there. Sure, you gotta wiggle it around a little bit. Honestly, with these guys, I wouldn't really worry about popping back in, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it. You're gonna want to put these on first, before you put the tray all the way in, because you don't got much room to play down there. So go ahead and pop those back in to your tray. You're gonna want to slide that guy back on right there. This, remember, it slides in like that underneath this black box, and yeah. So once you get that tray back in, come back. All right, you guys, we're almost there. So once you got this plate back on, make sure when you put those two bolts that were right here, those last ones that we found, put these on before you put these on, just because it's easier when you can move this out of the way to tighten up those two back bolts. And then throw this guy on right here, and then we'll go ahead and stick that plate on. So remember where this plate goes, just like that. And put it on, bend out, plate like that. Go and throw that plate on, and then come right back. And then once you get that plate all bolted up, get your battery back in there, bolt your battery up, positive first, negative second, and then we'll go ahead and put this intake back in. Remember, this thing just slides right on there. We'll pop it right back on there, like so. Put that side on first, since it's pretty easy to get this side on. And that just, yeah, that just sits on top of it. You don't gotta have it clip in or anything. Sorry. Okay, and then go ahead, tighten that back up. Size. Tighten that back up. These clamps don't gotta be that tight, guys. So don't go over torquing them and breaking your clamp. All right. Let's go ahead and put that bolt back in to support your intake piping. That's this long guy. That's got to be the chain. And man, these cars are very convenient with how they've basically got holding trays for all your bolts if you don't have one of these magnetized trays. And they got this tray right here. It's pretty nice. Okay, go ahead and bolt this guy down. Voila.